In this video, we are going to be converting from interval notation into inequalities. Let's check it out. And I'll just let me give you this tip. If you have yet to see the first video just before this one on converting from inequalities to intervals, you might want to watch that one first. All right, we are told to convert each to an inequality. So first, we have the interval from -3 to 8. Now we are given right here a parentheses, and then 8. How are we going to deal with that? With a bracket? Well, a couple ways to do this. I think the best way, personally, I'm going to show you this way, is to write out the graph that this looks like. So you have -3 to 8, and I'm just going to draw like a little mini number line here and shade that in there. So we start at -3, but don't include it. Remember from the last video, -3, hands off with the parentheses, don't include it. So you have an open circle at -3, and then shade it in until we get to 8, and we include that. Right, so what does that look like as an inequality? It's a compound inequality where we have -3 is less than, strictly less than, x, which is less than or equal to 8. After a while, you'll be able to go straight from the interval notation right to this, saying start at -3 but don't include it, and then go to 8 and do include it. That's the bracket. Okay, this one here, what does that look like? The interval from -infinity to -4. Well, on a number line, we would be shading, we'd be going all the way to -4 with an open circle, because of the parentheses, and we'd be shading everything to the left, because we're going from -infinity there. What is that as an inequality? It's all numbers less than -4, but not equal to -4. So that'd be x is less than -4. Nice. On to the next one. We've got two brackets, which means we include 2 and 10. Remember, that means like house the 2 and the 10, shelter them. So that is going to be a compound inequality. When we graph it, we have all numbers including 2, shading in between, all the way up to 10. So compound inequality, so we start at 2, which is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 10, and that's just reading this graph. Now, if you're having trouble with compound inequalities and you're looking at that saying, what is that? Check out my videos on compound inequalities. It'll help you on it. All right, letter D, the last one. We have the interval from -infinity to 3, united with, also read as or, 4.2 to infinity, include the 4.2. So let's handle each one on their own. This one here, if we take a look at it, is shading from -infinity all the way till we get to +3, right there. So what's that going to look like as an inequality? It's all numbers less than 3, but not including it. Or, and now we look here. Well, this is going to be a number line starting at 4.2, including 4.2, and then moving off to the right towards infinity. Again, taking the number line and condensing it from 4.2 to infinity. So that's going to be x is more than or equal to 4.2. The key, again, is remembering that number lines are basically being squished down to symbolize this. So after a while, you're going to be visualizing this, and that, or that. And looking at it and saying, well, so if I have -infinity to 3, but don't include the 3, I've got this open circle at 3 and everything to the left. Oh, that's x is less than 3. All right, peeps, rock that interval notation.